Hey guys, S01E34 here. Welcome back to another episode of Pokémon WTF Moments, the show where I go through the Pokémon anime and I pick it apart and I ruin it and I make you not want to watch it anymore. Is that fun? I guess, because you keep coming back, so you're welcome, I guess. Of course, if you are a fan of WTF Moments and you're ready for more, make sure you hit the like button. Let's go for a nice casual 1,000 likes on this WTF if we can. Hit subscribe if you're new so you never miss one of these videos or any videos on my channel. And of course, share this video with a friend if you like it. But of course, without further ado, let's take a look at the WTF Moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 34, the Kangaskhan Kid. What the fuck? According to the narrator, we find ourselves in the Safari Zone, but that's exactly what he said last week, so don't hold it against me if I take this information with just the littlest pinch of salt. Even Brock is skeptical. He says they might still be on the Pokemon Reserve. And you know what? I'm completely with Brock on this one. After all, the narrator can't be trusted. Ash spots a Chansey, but it turns out it's not actually a Chansey. It's actually Officer Jenny wearing a Chansey hat, holding a big-ass rifle, which she promptly points at this group of children. There's nothing quite like family-friendly entertainment, eh? Jenny arrests Ash and co for suspected Pokemon poaching and explains that they are in a national Pokemon preservation area, therefore not the Safari Zone. So once again, the narrator is a lying bastard. Suddenly, an alert starts sounding and Jenny exclaims, "Another poacher!" even though she's literally just established that Ash and his friends are not poachers. So technically, whatever's on that screen is the first poacher she's come across today. What she should have said is, "Oh no, an actual poacher." Ash tells Jenny he'd like to help her out to make up for what happened before, even though she's the one that pointed a gun at and arrested these children without any evidence of wrongdoing. So surely they don't owe her anything. Now in this scene, Dexter correctly categorizes Kangaskhan as the parent Pokemon, but that's got me thinking. The baby Kangaskhan in the pouch is still technically a Kangaskhan, so is the baby Kangaskhan also known as the parent Pokemon? Do you think maybe the baby Kangaskhan has an even smaller pouch in its own belly with an even smaller baby Kangaskhan in it? Are they like Russian nesting dolls? Team Rocket fire explosives into the sky to scare a group of Kangaskhan to run towards their net. But their net is one that fires out of the ground up into the air and then down onto the Kangaskhan, so surely it would have been easier to not bother with the previous explosives to scare them and just fire the net up and down onto the Kangaskhan when they weren't running. Right? Also, you've got to give credit to Team Rocket for not even trying to camouflage themselves. Like, they didn't even hide in the bushes that are right there. You've just got to love lazy criminals. Apparently, when reversing and turning slightly to the right to avoid the stampeding Kangaskhan, Jenny's knackered the Jeep's engine. Full transparency, my gut instinct here was to write a joke about ahaha, woman driver, but it's 2020 and I'm not sure I'm allowed to do that anymore. Jessie's Pokeball gets intercepted by a boomerang and flicked right back in her face. And then we hear it. One of the most irritating voices in all of Pokemon. Kanga! Oh, that's so loud. Kanga! I can't do it. Kanga! Oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's horrible. I'm not doing the impression. I'm not doing the impression. I've tried 3 times. I'm not doing it anymore. I have neighbors and they already hate me because I'm an arsehole. I don't want them to also hate me because I'm loud. And here he is. It's shit Tarzan. It's shit George of the Jungle. It's shit Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys.
Well, actually, Liam, a couple of these references came after this episode aired, so you can't really say this is a bad version of those.
Well, firstly, that's only true for the Wild Thornberrys, which did come out after this, but still, even that did the trope of wild kid raised in the jungle better than this. Side note, I was genuinely surprised to find out that George of the Jungle actually predates this episode of Pokemon first airing in Japan by about a year. Like, that's crazy. And genuinely, that's one of my favorite movies, if you didn't know already. Now, I understand that they're following the orders of this kid, but how did the Kangaskhan surround Team Rocket's Jeep so quickly? I get that they've got decent speed, but I don't remember Kangaskhan being known for their lightning-fast agility.
Kangaskhan!
Shut the fuck up. You remember when you were a kid and you used to be watching your favorite cartoons and occasionally your mum would say something like, "Oh, do we have to watch this annoying rubbish?" This is that annoying rubbish. I hear it now. Why do some of these Kangaskhan not have their babies? I thought they were all automatically born with their babies anyway. At least that's how they look when they hatch from eggs in the games. Or are these just the babies that have grown up and are yet to have their own baby? Like, do they have to wait for their first egg to hatch before they have a baby to put in the pouch? Nothing's being explained here. And why is that one about 90 feet tall compared to the rest?
Well, Actually, Liam, if you think about it, it's probably just closer to the camera.
Is it though? Because this shot says otherwise. So this kid, right, rides around in the pouch of a Kangaskhan, but that raises a lot of questions. And not just where is this Kangaskhan's baby, because we've already asked that and maybe it's one of those ones that doesn't have a baby for whatever reason. But Kangaskhan is kind of based on a kangaroo, a marsupial, hence the pouch. But a marsupial's pouch is where its teats are, where its child feeds from. So is this kid feeding from Kangaskhan's teats? This whole arrangement is making me uncomfortable. Just carry him on your shoulder, Kangaskhan. This guy looks exactly like that Austrian-born dictator. You know the one. Charlie Chaplin. Alright, so now everybody's saying that this is the Safari Zone, not a national Pokemon preservation area, so I don't know who to believe anymore. Maybe it's one, maybe it's the other, maybe it's both, I don't know. At this point, I don't even think the characters know. So the Kangaskhan Kid is actually Tommy, the infant son of these two people. They start explaining how they were taking Tommy on a trip around the world with them. Honestly, I think taking a kid on a tour around the world is completely pointless. Like, if you're a 3-year-old kid, you can't absorb the gravity of the things around you. You can't understand how important the things that you're seeing are. You can't appreciate things for the beauty and the history and whatnot. All you care about is food and whatever's immediately in front of you that looks bright colored or shiny, and basically whether or not you're gonna cry for the next half an hour because your sleeves are too long or too short or some pathetic thing kids cry about. What I'm saying is, taking a kid on a round the world tour, complete waste of time and money. Leave him at home with a babysitter, you know, for like 6 months. Yeah, I know, 6 months with a babysitter is probably not good for the kid. But back on topic, when talking about their round the world tour, we get this shot of the family in a helicopter, where the dad just randomly pulls a Michael Jackson and dangles his kid out of the bloody window. The hell's going on? The dad then loses his grip and trigger warning ahead, and little Tommy plummets to the earth. That's a death right there. The Kangaskhan Kid, sure, might look like Tommy, but let's face it, Tommy is mush. Oh no, wait, he had a parachute the whole time. I would commend this guy's safety precautions with the whole parachute thing, but he did just dangle his child from a helicopter. Hang on, so if he had a parachute, did he intend to drop Tommy into the jungle? Maybe these guys are the Kangaskhan poachers and they're just playing the long game. Think about it, they send their son down into the forest to infiltrate the herd and then BAM! Capture all the Kangaskhan. Maybe I'm reading a bit too much into it. They find Tommy's parachute and backpack hanging from a tree, and Adolf over here has the audacity to be like, maybe if you had been holding him, this wouldn't have happened. What a massive bellend this guy is. I hate it. I know it's a cartoon, but I hate seeing incompetent parents like this. Like, there are people that are this selfish and this stupid in the world. Now, bear in mind, there are people in the world who want children but can't have them. And then there are people like this who have children and are just so incredibly stupid and incompetent. It's infuriating. After they explain that Tommy couldn't be found anywhere, Pikachu begins to tear up. Personally, I don't feel sorry for them at all. Well, maybe the mum, but definitely not the dad. If you dangle your kid from a helicopter, parachute or not, and then you let him free fall or parachute down to the earth, I've got no sympathy for you if you can't find him. Be a better parent. According to the mum, someone sent them a picture of a young boy who leads a pack of Kangaskhan in the Safari Zone. Now, there are two ways I could go about analyzing that statement, and the first is obvious. Who the hell is in the forest taking photos of a young boy? Whoever that is should definitely be on some kind of watch list. The other way we could look at it is if this is the first time that Ranger Jenny is hearing this information, that means whoever took the photo got onto the reserve without her knowing. And that just makes me wonder, how crap is she at her job? A photographer can get onto the reserve, and a child, a really freaking loud child at that, can literally live on the reserve without the person in charge of protecting it ever even noticing. Jenny reveals that Tommy must be Tomo, a wild child who lives in the Safari Zone and even has a confirmed address in the Safari Zone directory. So hang on, Jenny knew there was a random stray child living in this area without its parents and didn't tell anyone about it? What kind of warped, crazy child farm is she running here? Why did Ash & Co. agree to carry this pair around like this? I'd have told them to fucking walk or I'm buggering off to the next gym. Also, why did Ranger Jenny have one of these contraptions just lying around? Something really suspicious is going on in the Safari Zone, if that even is the Safari Zone. Direct quote from Ash.
How did did we end up with a job like this?
It's because you're one of those idiots that thinks that if someone older than you asks you to do something, that you automatically are duty-bound to do it. You twat. They find a battered and bruised baby Kangaskhan in the forest, which means that there's a Kangaskhan out there that's doing a terrible job of raising its child. But never fear, because Brock's been studying on how to be the world's best Pokemon breeder, so he knows just how to help. He talks in a gentle and calming manner, he pulls out some super potion to treat the Pokemon's wounds, and he gives it a little warning that this might sting, but it's gonna make your wounds heal a lot faster, and then proceeds to spray super potion directly in the face of the poor thing. Brock is an arsehole. Pass it on. But you know who's not an arsehole? G Fuel, who support this channel and allow me to continue to bring wonderful free content to all you lovely people. And if you use code ACE when you order G Fuel, you'll not only be saving yourself some money, but you'll also be directly helping to support this wonderful channel. Oh yeah, I'm drinking watermelon today. If you're wondering, that's one of my absolute favorite flavors. It's super up there. Drink it with ice. Let's neck it, lads. Come on. Oh, that was disgusting. Code Ace. The burp was disgusting. The G Fuel was lovely. Code Ace. Code Ace. Code Ace. Code Ace. Tommy turns up, twatting Ash with his boomerang, and yells, "You hurt Kangaskhan! That's bad!" Well, if we're talking about what's bad, you neglected a baby Kangaskhan long enough for it to get separated from the herd and beaten to a pulp. That's dreadful. So honestly, Tommy, you should pipe down before you start playing the moral high ground card, you little shit. Tommy, or Tomo, or whatever, stupidly asks Misty if she is people or Pokemon. Now, I'm quite open about how I'm not a big fan of children. I don't really like them at all. I'd rather just not be around them, but I would never punch one, not even for saying something really stupid. Misty, on the other hand, smacks this kid as hard as she can on the top of his head. It's lucky his parents were so far away that they couldn't see anything, or you'll be going to prison, love. And yes, I know, in the Japanese version, he doesn't ask Misty if she's people or Pokemon, he asks if he can nurse milk from her breasts, because anime. You ever just imagine how cool anime would be if the writers would stop being so obsessed with the anatomy of kids? Tommy doesn't recognize his actual mum and dad, so to try and help him remember, Misty grabs him by the head and holds his eyes open. Yeah, that'll do the trick. The next thing we see is a flashback in Tommy's mind of his herd of Kangaskhan singing what I can only assume is a lullaby. But Jesus Christ, this is unsettling. I don't know what it is, but I genuinely had to leave the room for a little bit and then come back after hearing this. It's so creepy. Go back and watch it. It's like some kind of sound out of Paranormal Activity or something. Tommy doesn't understand what's going on and starts screaming about his mama being Kangaskhan, and then his dad literally twats him over the head with a tree branch. What is happening to this poor jungle kid? These are the first humans he's seen in years, and they're all trying to cave in his skull. No wonder he doesn't want to go with them. His dad's just like, oh, no biggie, we'll take him home and start from scratch. And like, on the surface, I get what he's trying to say. Like, if they take him back to civilization away from the Kangaskhan, they can start to rehabilitate him. That I understand. Although, given the obvious child abuse going on here, knocking your kid out with a tree branch should not go unpunished. I think he'd be better off with a completely new family. Tommy wakes up and instantly recognizes his real mum, and Ash comments that that clonk on the head must have helped bring back his memories. So the moral of today's episode is, if your kid isn't behaving the way you want it to, you should clonk it over the head with a tree branch? I don't know, Pokemon, that's a bit dodgy, mate. Why has the dad exposed his nipples? What the fuck is this turning into? He legit opens his shirt and goes, "Tommy boy, remember Papa?" Why would this kid have a significant memory of his dad's nips? What is going on with this messed up family? So then, while Tommy's having a meltdown because he can't understand how he can have a Kangaskhan mother and a human mother, whilst probably trying to ignore any memories of his father, Ranger Jenny turns up asking for help because there's Pokemon poachers again. Jenny, mate, how did you function as a ranger before today, before these children turned up? Because you can't seem to handle anything on your own. I'm surprised there's even Kangaskhan left if you're in charge. After spending all of 2 minutes trying to rehab Tommy, but to no avail, his mum starts to think about giving up on him. 11 out of 10 for that effort, mum. Wow, you must really care. Team Rocket turn up in this Kangaskhan mech, and the real Kangaskhan can't tell that it's a fake. It's literally 50 feet tall and has a little red jeep sticking out of its arsehole. How could they possibly think it's real? Here we have James casually shooting tranquilizer rounds at Kangaskhan. Okay, direct quote from James. "It's Jungle Boy." No, James. This is Jungle Boy. Team Rocket just casually attempt to kill a child. This is quite the wholesome weekday morning cartoon, is it not? Whilst Pikachu and Charmander are using Thunderbolt and Flamethrower respectively, Tommy throws his boomerang and knocks off the mech's gas cap, causing the gasoline to leak out, which then ignites, engulfing the mech in flames. Tommy's then like, "Tomo, do it!" like he blew the thing up by himself. Arrogant little wanker. Somehow this all just sends the mech into an even more powered up stage than it was before, and instead of then trying to fight it some more, they jump in Jenny's Jeep and try to drive away. But surely now you're just leading a giant on-fire robot towards the forest that Jenny is supposed to be protecting. Bad plan, guys. Bad plan. Speaking of bad plans, just as the mech is about to use its super punch, Mama and Papa turn up in their helicopter and literally just kamikaze it into the side of the mech, blowing everything up. Jesus, this episode is covering a lot of deep topics. Wildlife conservation, poaching, child neglect, breastfeeding, child abuse, super punch attempts being thwarted by helicopters. Heavy stuff. Listen, Pokemon, you can't make a piss-irritating character that literally does nothing but yell, "Kanga!" and then try and make us care about his creepy-ass dad blowing up in a helicopter crash just because you play the Bye Bye Butterfree music in the background. That's not how it works. Wait, why is he crying? He still has his Kangaskhan mum, doesn't he? Talk about ungrateful. By the way, let's just dissect this scene real quick. There's a young child here crying his eyes out because his biological parents have just perished in a moment of heroic self-sacrifice. And everyone else has just stood there watching him cry and not even trying to console him. From what looks like a good 15 feet away at that. Show some compassion, guys. Or at least just clonk him over the head again. That usually works. And just like that, his parents emerge from the wreckage with what appear to only be minor scuffs and no hints of any pain. Fully kitted out in the most stereotypical jungle attire as if nothing happened. But if they were fine all along, why didn't they make Tommy aware sooner instead of just listening to him cry? These are terrible parents. And let's be real, if you're planning on living in the forest, strapless probably wasn't the best fashion choice, Mama. If one stray branch snags that dress, your Kangaskhan's are loose, mate. Now, Mama and Papa have decided that if the Kangaskhan are so important to Tommy, then they want to live in the forest with him and help protect them. So these seemingly wealthy people are going to completely drop their entire lives to live in the forest because their kid is adamant about not leaving? This seems real fishy to me. I do not trust this family at all. And Jenny, you're just going to allow this? You're supposed to be protecting this Pokemon reserve and you're just going to let some random people you met today start living on it? Ranger Jenny has to be the worst ranger in the history of rangering. Wait, how big is this bloody Kangaskhan if it can hold its own baby, an 8-year-old kid, and also 2 fully grown adults as well? That's got to be the biggest Kangaskhan ever. Someone should catch it. Although saying that, if someone did throw a Pokeball at that Kangaskhan, we know the Kangaskhan and its baby would both go into the Pokeball, but would the 3 humans be sucked in as well? Or would it draw in just the Kangaskhan and the baby Kangaskhan and leave the humans just on the ground? Or would any part of them that's not within the confines of Kangaskhan's pouch be kind of chopped off and left out of the ball in a heap on the floor? Like, what would happen? These are the questions. These are the questions that no one's asking. In conclusion, this episode is a clusterfuck of child neglect, poor conservation efforts, annoying sounds like Kanga! And after you've seen it once, you don't need to bother watching it again. And if you don't, your life will be better off for it. So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 34, The Kangaskhan Kid. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. And of course, like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel like the beautiful people here do, pledge to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/AceTrainerLiam. And of course, use code ACE for money off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.